and coming out of the tunnel, everybody knows the walk. And I'm like, I said, that Michael going on there coming over there. I said, what's he doing?
I said, sure look like that's he dark enough.
Got his Carolina shorts on and that little walk coming on. I'm like, oh man, this is our freshman year, Vince.
The VC show, let's go, doing the part with Roz. We got the sports on deck for our audience. Whether it's big news, hot topics, updates, straight facts, storytelling, breakdowns, or special guests. VC show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC show, let's go.
All right, party people. You know what? Welcome to the VC show, presented by Caesar Sportsbook on Omaha Audio. You know us, Vince Carter here. Roz is doing what Roz does. She's busy. She's out doing whatever. So for those who aren't Carolina fans, you may log off now. And if you are, welcome. We're going to start the show that way. But the reason I say that because I bring in an old friend. And I mean old friend, I'm talking about somebody that is, what you do in Carolina? Let me see. National Player of the Year. Scored a lot of buckets against Duke. All of those good things, man. Antawn Jamison is in the building. Let's go. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
We can reminisce and talk about the good old days and so forth. So we're definitely glad to be here, my man.
Awesome, man. How you been, man? Like, we're gonna get this out the way, and then we're gonna get right down to the nitty gritty. What's the golf game looking like? I know you working, and I know all that stuff, but what's it look like?
It's been a while. I got the opportunity to play about a month or so ago, but after April 9th, give me like a couple of weeks, and then I'll be able to get back in rep form, and we can go back to our normally wagers that we have out there on the golf course, having a good time and so forth. So, yeah.
I want to get right into it. It's tournament time. Great memories of tournament time, but, before I get too far deep in there, I want to kind of dedicate this show to our guy, Ademola Okulaja. Near and dear to us, and it just gives me chills just thinking about him. But I wanted to I can't have you on and us not start there, because for all of the Carolina fans who knows Ademola, and can all tell a story of what he means to them, and we know you went out there, to the funeral and everything, and got a chance to kind of see him go to a better place. But every time I talk about or think about Ademola, I think about one night that makes me smile.
One of many.
And as soon as I say it, go for sure.
One of many.
But I always think back to one of the nights in the Dean Dome, late night, going into to bringing in the new year, us playing 1-on-1, and Ademola beat us going into the new year.
Yeah.
You remember that? Yeah. And just kind of just a smile on his face, and just Ademola being Ademola, bringing joy to it. It's like not happy. I'm talking about getting it in. Like, it was like no mercy basketball. It's always been that way with the three of us. We were labeled the Three Musketeers because that's just we just hung out. We came in together. I remember coming into school early, and you guys were there. We kind of just got to know each other. Well, I already knew, obviously, you a little before that, but like, man, who's my man? Like, it's watching Ademola go from, a German basketball player to learning the American way and to being a great dude, man. But do you remember that night?
I do remember that night. And that's the thing. I remember because, and we know Ademola. Ademola's always underneath the radar, always humble. But probably the fiercest competitor I think that you and I have ever, competed against. And you always hear these stories about these players that you would love to have on your team, and Ademola exemplified that. But I remember that night, and it was funny because he was just going off. I mean, you're not American. I don't care. I just whoop your butt. You 25 points a game. Man, what? And I just remember the passion and the energy that he had, and that's exactly who he was on the court and off the court. That's who he was as a brother. Somebody was was that incident when somebody would call on my phone and he was ready to go, and I mean that it's the definition of
come on, man, let's go.
of who he was.
Let's go find him.
He didn't ask any questions. I mean, he was always there. And it's funny, Vince, if you talk to people, wherever you saw Antawn, you saw Vince, you saw Ademola. Wherever you saw Vince, we was like that our entire time at Carolina. And like I said, to come from Germany into a surrounding that he wasn't comfortable with, and just to blend in with the likes of yourself and me, the Mactars and the
Shimon.
No, hey, you gonna get this
Touche,
all the guys. So, but when I say a dear friend, somebody who we will to the day we die always carry in our hearts, and just know that the love he not only had for our friendship, but for the University of North Carolina. I mean, it was tough, and knowing that he's in a great place now, but I mean, it just like I know it. When that happened, I think a piece of both of us kind of like, we lost a lot because, we talk about family, we talk about brothers, but Ademola was truly our brother from another mother. And it's still to this day, I still can't, fathom that he's not here or not get that call and like, Ademola, slow down. What did you say? I can't.
What did you say?
Slow down, my man. The nights at Gray Hall, him trying to dance and so many fun memories. But truly God sent, and like I said, words can't defy what he has meant not only for my life but for yours as well. But we know he's in a better place.
Man.
But it's tough,
Yeah, and I remember two other things that stick out. This is after our days at Carolina, now adults and having our own families, and we're father figures to our kids, and Ademola's always reaching out. Hey, I'm in the States. I'm coming. Where are you? And I remember the last time the three of us got together was we did the podcast on one of the other shows that I did at the house, and it was just a good time. I look at that picture sometimes, and I remember posting that picture when he passed, and just looking at him, and just like he just lights up the room. And for those who don't know Ademola like that, and like who is this guy, man? Just look him up, man. Just when you see his picture alone, it's gonna make you smile and just feel good, just because of the person that he is, and he was just. He did that. He did that to people when we were walking in the malls. Remember?
Yeah. I think the thing that I think it makes
people love that guy, man.
Is because this is the first time you and I both are away from our parents, our mom, our dad, the household, and we took that journey together. We all had the dream of playing in the NBA, and just the things that we accomplished. It was all of us. And I think, like you said, a lot of people the name don't stick out because he didn't play 20-some years or 15 years in the NBA. But to the Carolina fans, they knew exactly what he exemplified and
what he meant to us.
He just, like I said, you can't replace the love that we had for one another and the things that we went through. And his brother, his mom, it's just, it's, I don't know, it's tough though, but like I said, it was a great guy. It's not one person can say anything negative about Ademola and what he has meant to anybody, but definitely gone too soon. And like I said, he would definitely be carried forever in my heart, your heart, for everybody's hearts, especially at Carolina too. So
for sure, shout out to his brother Ademola and his kids. Shout out to those young men, and we love you. We support you.
The VC Show, let's go.
Caesars Sportsbook is not just an app, it's a whole empire. Iconic casinos, hotels, world-class restaurant. It's all yours with Caesars Rewards. Because every bet you place, win or lose, earns reward credits, which you can redeem for hotel stays at 50 destinations, meals, tickets, merch, bonuses, and more. Get started today. Create an account with promo code OMAHAFULL. OMAHAFULL.
Kick your feet up, you can find us on all platforms. In that form, so be the hottest on them platforms. Your family now, got you listen to what we talking about. The VC show, let's go, it's time to turn it out. The VC show, let's go, let's go. The VC show, let's go, let's go. The VC show, let's go.
Tell me about your recruitment. So I'm not sure a lot of people know. You committed to Carolina early.
Yeah.
But when I say early, you committed when?
I committed going into my junior year of high school.
Going into your junior year, correct.
So my sophomore year, I was like,
what was...
I had to, because my biggest thing for me...
Because I never asked you that.
Yeah.
Did you take any visits, other visits?
No, because...
I don't remember.
Being from Charlotte, because we had just moved from Louisiana to Charlotte, and...
Okay.
Of course, I wanted to play college basketball, and I had just got acquainted to what ACC basketball was all about. And I knew I wanted to stay close to home. So I had took an unofficial visit to South Carolina, an unofficial visit to NC State, and I took an unofficial visit to Duke. So up until then, I'm like, hey, man.
Now, when was this? Now, this was that sophomore to junior year, so that summer.
That summer.
Leading into your junior.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took those visits, and I was just like, Grant Hill showed me around, Tonyo Lang, those guys. I was like, man, this might not be bad. But once I walked on the campus of Carolina, and Coach Ford and Coach Guthridge and Dave Hanners.
Who recruited you?
Coach Ford did.
Coach Ford.
I remember he came to and it's one of my AAU games, and charismatic as he is, always shooting the breeze and cracking jokes, and I was like, I can vibe with that. And it wasn't until my parents and I took the visit to Carolina. It was just something about Carolina. I said, this is me. This is where I want to play college basketball. And I remember going into my junior year. I already knew I was going there my senior year. It was an underthought. And I remember our senior year at the Beach Ball Classic.
Yeah, when I ran into you.
Sir. And my high school coach was like, that's Vince Carter. They talking about he might be going to Carolina. So I was like, go speak to him. And I remember you and your mom was there. And I'm just trying to vibe, how you doing going to Carolina, man? Hopefully we're going to be teammates. Yeah. And your mom just like, so what is it about Carolina? You're like, what about Coach Smith? She's sitting there like, if anybody knows,
you need to know because
yes,
yeah, because we were I took a visit right after beach ball, so I was leaving. I left beach ball and went straight there for a visit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I was going straight. That's why she was asking that.
So
I took a unofficial since I was already out that way. So me and Coach Brick, my high school coach, and the assistant coach, I think as well, we took a visit to Carolina right after, unofficially.
And the thing about it, though...
So that's why she was asking you that.
And it's funny because I remember the first time we met, and it's almost like we've known each other for, like, more than the time that we knew each other.
Because, people, you got to remember, at that time, social media wasn't a thing. So it was like... It was word of mouth.
It wasn't no ESPN. It wasn't no YouTube. You can go and see all of Vince Dunk's highlights. So I saw you play, and I'm like...
It was just like... and it was like, oh, you said, I'm Antawn. I said, oh, you the dude that already committed. Okay, cool. It was kind of one of the, like, I feel like every introduction that you played in different AAUs outside of having to play someone in your area, when you meet them from it was kind of like that. Oh, you the dude I'll be hearing about. Like, it was just kind of like that. So, I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, and it was that instant connection. Like, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like, it was just asking questions. He was listening and just so forth. We were just bouncing off each other. I'm like, seemed like a pretty good guy, not too bad. We can win some games together. I think we can make it happen. It was funny because it was like, that's the guy they talking about might be going to Carolina. He might be your teammate. And I'm like, let me go over here and rap to him and stuff like that. So that was funny. That was the first time that we met. And then I remember, fast forward, we played in the McDonald's game together. And that's when I knew who Vince Carter was. Because I think I didn't see you at the Beach Ball Classic. I think y'all had.
I saw you at the beginning, so we played like different times.
Yeah, we played different times, and then I just remember.
So I never saw you.
The slam dunk contest in St. Louis. I was just like, And then, like, just the practice. Think about it, Vince, who we had, man. We had Kevin Garnett, Jelani McCoy, Ron Mercer, God Sam God. I mean, we had
Paul Pierce,
Paul Pierce. We had
Ryan
legends.
Robertson,
It was like,
Albert White,
I
tractor
remember
trailer.
those practice. I was just like, I said, bro, this is what I got to deal with, for the next couple of years in college, because we was straight
Lou
hooping
Bullock.
everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just,
like that. It was supposed to be in practices. Like our practices were like or just as competitive as the game that.
Lou was in there.
Like,
I was just
we forgot about Steph Marbury.
So it was just like, I was like, man, that class was crazy. And to think about the type of success that everybody from that class have had, whether it's coaching, playing the game of basketball. I mean, they talk about the LeBron class and so forth, which they deservedly should talk about. But we had some heavy hitters in that class that went on to do exceptional things, Hall of Famers, yourself and so forth. And let's not talk about the draft class. I mean, you can add Dirk Nowitzki up in there and Mike Bibby and those guys, man. It was
Mike Bibby.
Some good names.
Jay Will.
Yeah.
Man.
Fond memories, my man. Fond memories.
Yes, sir. And speaking of a memory that we probably want to put out of our mind, but let's just get this other quick subject out of the way. What happened to us this year, in your opinion? What do you think?
I think the NIL.
Would you like me?
I think this is,
I'm gonna give you my opinion on this too before you go any further. I just think we got comfortable and cocky that we had our guys, our main core guys, returning, and we just thought it was going to happen. When I went early in the season, I went for a preseason game, and I was a little concerned because it was a preseason game that we should have blown. Whoever, I can't remember who it was.
Okay, John C. Smith. I remember that game. Yeah.
Yes, and it was, we should have blown them out of the water, and we didn't get it done. It's kind of like, okay, it's preseason, whatever. But I'm like, all the games were like that, and that was a concern for me because we felt like, oh, we just turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of got out of the hand from that. So that's what I saw from there, which concerned me. But go ahead.
So think about this. Let's say after our sophomore year, when we lose to Arizona, we come back. Just think about, like I said, everybody went to both sessions of summer school. Everybody, we played, Vince. We played nonstop that whole summer. I mean, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, we just getting up shots. So think about coming back the next following season. After you get done with practice, you got to go and shoot a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. After I get done with practice, I'm going to shoot this car dealership commercial. And I get it. Like, I truly believe that players deserve to get paid for their name and likeness. I just think...
Stop. Can you imagine NIL being around your time?
That's what I'm saying. I just say I don't think that we probably would have made it to the Final Four the next year because you getting almost $1 million
because of the opportunity. Yeah, man.
And I knew, and you know how that Duke Carolina game. I remember the game at Duke, and I remember the ball just rolling on the floor, and I'm just like, nobody's diving for loose. That's a Duke Carolina game, and I love the guys. I think we just got to the point we got complacent, and we felt like it was going to be as easy as it was, because we caught fire at the right time of the season. Yeah. So I think they thought that we could just carry that over. But as you know, other teams are like preseason number one. I mean, they
the
were
hunted.
Going at
hunters anymore. They were the hunters.
And we never counteracted. And I talked to Hubert, and he was like, "Well, this is a different team." He said, "This is a totally different team than what I had last year." He said they got to worry about other things outside of basketball. But think about it, Vince. For us, it was just, we go to class, we do our work, and the one thing, especially in my profession, what I see now is the feel for the game is not there. Imagine all the open runs that we had. Vince, I went there the first day they was able to practice, or just go up, pick up. So they played that day, and I had the boys with me, and I said, "Well, I see you guys tomorrow. Y'all gonna play again tomorrow, right?" They were like, "Nah, we scheduled to play next week." I was like, "Huh?" So for us, we got a basketball scholarship to go to the University of North Carolina. Of course, don't get me wrong, school, whatever other kind of things you got going on, but Vince, we play every single day. And I think the problem that we're dealing with is these guys that can. Everybody can work out. Everybody can dribble between the legs. Everybody can do all this other stuff. But the feel for the game, the chemistry, the competitiveness is kind of like taking a step back, I think.
Draft night.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about draft night?
I'm sitting there, me and my boy getting drafted together. We sitting there in Vancouver having a good time. Your table next there, me and my mama sitting there. So my mom and dad here, my agent here, and my agent is like, look, it's going to be a trade. You're not going to Toronto, so just letting you know. You know, they get the phone call before.
See, you already knew that. And meanwhile, we sitting over here don't know a thing. But obviously the deal was with you. And I'm going to say right from that point, now we're here like living it up and like I said, about to get drafted, you know, like I said, sitting next to us. And the weirdest thing to me is, and obviously we always talked about where we worked out and everything. And I worked out for Golden State and whatnot. And when you got drafted to Toronto, okay, let me go back. I don't know if you know, Toronto had already said if I was available at 4, I might as well come work out for them because they were going to draft me.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, draft night gets here. Number 1, Okulaja. They already knew. It was already understood. He was Okulaja or Bibby.
Yeah.
Number 2, the other. Okay? Then number 3, Rafe LaFrance. All right, cool. Number 4, I was like, okay, they said. I remember telling my mom, they said they're going to draft me. Okay. Antawn Jamison. I said, wait, what?
I said the same thing. So my agent was right there, so he told me. So they say Antawn Jamison, number 4 pick, Toronto Raptors. I'm getting up. I'm like, okay. I said, I don't know where I'm going, but from what I just heard, this is not going to be it.
You're not going to end up here.
So I'm getting up.
Bro.
I'm trying to hug my mom and my dad. My mom like, no, it's cold. We didn't say anything about it. I said, Mama, just give me a hug. I'm not going here. They're like, Toronto? Like, what? So, but I didn't know what I did not know because I thought I was either going to Golden State or Dallas. So come to find out, Golden State was
trying to keep you from Dallas.
From Dallas, because Dallas was in talks with Toronto about moving up. So Golden State like, look, Cash, we'll switch. Let's, we don't want to lose Antawn. So that's how it happened. And just like, beach ball classic. I mean, this is the way we started our friendship. And I remember
exactly
the first day on campus, like just the way we competed against one another, Vince. We were preparing ourselves for that moment. It was funny. You didn't know we was getting traded. I kind of knew. I just didn't know where I was going. But to sit there, I'm shaking David Stern hands. He like, don't keep that hat on for too long. You're getting traded. So I knew what was going on. I just didn't know. I'm sitting back there doing interviews with the 5th pick. I said, oh, you don't say. It's for my
okay, so now it's my turn. So now I get drafted with the 5th pick, the Golden State Warriors. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to Toronto. I'm going to Golden State.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. So, I'm getting, my family we all putting on the hats and I was like, congratulations, hugging moms and pops and all that and stuff like that. And it's like, man, that's crazy. The boys going 4-5. All right, cool. And I remember putting the hat on, and I remember my family, they getting their hat all right and stuff. And they told me this, but obviously I didn't see that part of it. But I remember putting my hat on, and I remember walking up the steps, taking the first 2 steps, and I see you standing there to the right.
Yeah.
And when you were standing there, you were trying to say something to me, but I was so excited, and my heart beat. I'm like, "Bro, I'm about to take that. It's about to happen." What? So you were like you were saying, come to find out, you were saying we're about to get traded. I was like, what?
So by the time
I'm trying not to fall up steps because the one thing I had in my mind was like, bro, all of this, the camera gonna be following you. Do not trip up steps.
Because that's
all I cared about.
We were walking up. I'm like, oh, you gotta be careful, but
it was slippery. You had the brand new bottoms on. I was like, bro, do not slip. And you talking to me too? I was like, what? I was like, oh man, whatever. I'll take the picture. David Stern said, hey, stand right here.
Yeah.
It's about to be a trade. So I stood back, and you were trying to tell me. I was like, bro, I don't know what you're saying. My heart beating in my ears or something. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I can't understand you. So he's like, so I remember saying, dang, somebody's about to get traded already.
Yeah. And back then, they didn't wait until 8 or 9 picks later to address the pick. They knew right away, and it was like we were sitting down. We sitting there taking the hat off, and I got the picture right there down in the game room.
I got the picture, yeah.
I say it's crazy.
I was like,
just,
dang, the business of basketball
crazy.
has been introduced. And I'm traded for
we learned that very quickly.
My sweet mate is now like my teammate.
Yeah.
And sweet mate, because for y'all know, we lived in the we had the suites. Like I had one here, so we're connected.
I'm trying to go to bed. It's 3:00 in the morning.
I'm trying to listen to my. Remember, I had a 15, the 215s. But I was just like, oh, that's what he was saying. We getting traded for each other, bro. Why'd you say that?
Yeah.
And my parents were like, they were fixed. They said once they fixed the hat, they was like, what? And they were just throwing hats. Golden State hats on your table. Raptor hats are coming out. It was like it was just a crazy moment.
It was crazy, and it's funny because I told you about and right away our careers were going to be intertwined because, of course, we went to Carolina, getting traded for one another, and I just remember that rookie season. I'm just like, and I respected because I knew I'm like, this is the stuff people were like. Did you see the dunk he did on ESPN? I'm like. You should have been to our practices at Carolina. The dunks that he was doing.
I told people I jumped higher before they.
I was like, it was crazy. I mean, it was one time. I mean, when we was doing a rebounder drill, it was like Serge, Ricker, Mactor, me, Ed, Ademola. We down there just, and all of a sudden this dude just comes and take it. I'm just like, that was in practice. So it was one thing to see the highlights. I'm like. The dunk contest, I'm like, yeah, I've been seeing that for 3 years down the road. And he was touching the top of the backboard. I'm just like, yeah, that's nothing.
One of the moments that I'll never forget was a proud moment for me of you is your back-to-back 50 balls. And that was, I mean, it's a little different now. I mean, there's some Kobe Bryants, obviously, who was putting them up like 3, 4, 5 times in a row. But at that time, it was you and Kobe were the only ones that put up back-to-back 50 balls. Like, how did that make you feel? How were you feeling? Like, what type of zone were you in? And when did you know, particularly the second 50 ball, that you were going to do it again?
Well,
or you were capable of doing it?
I think the thing for me, because like I told you, my rookie year to see the success that you was having, Paul Pierce, Dirk, like, I'm like, man, like, I was college player of the year, Mike Bibby, all these cats, and like, it was tough. It was the furthest I've been away from my family. I'm on the West Coast. When I'm getting out of practice, everybody's getting ready to go to bed. I didn't really have anybody. And I remember, like, between you and Mac, being able to, like, just let out my frustration with you two.
Yep.
And you were like, bro, like, I know what you can do. Like, it's going to take time. And for you to be able to, like, sympathize with me after all the success you was having, dunking over people and
because I was on the other side though. Just think about that.
That's what I'm saying. Your freshman year,
my freshman year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
so
it's just so crazy.
For me to not have the team success, not have the individual success, it was the first time I ever doubted myself in life, in basketball. Because you got to think about it. Middle school, we was always the most athletic, the most talented. High school, we All-Americans. We get to college. And I got to the league, and it's just like, I'm doubting myself. But then I remember I went home for like a month. I came back, and I just dedicated myself to my craft, learning how to shoot. And I remember that year I was having some success. I was like, you know what? It's starting to become easy. I can get the shot off, mid-range, shoot the three a little bit. We played Gary Payton.
What year was that for you?
That was
when
my third year. My
third
year. And I remember we played up in Seattle, Gary Payton, those guys, Rashard Lewis.
You old, bro. You said up in Seattle.
Up in Seattle.
You old. Go ahead.
Yeah. 51 points. And I was just like, I said, man, I didn't see that coming. And I just remember, like, the text message from you, from everybody, like, bro, I knew you could do it. Congrats. I'm like, okay. You know, I'm starting to play like how I knew I can play the game of basketball on this level. And then it was like 2 days off before we played the Lakers. And this is when the Lakers, I think this might have been they either back-to-back or they was trying to three-peat. It might have been on their back-to-back year. Kobe, Shaq, everybody. And I just remember, like, just getting to that zone, like, bro, you just hit 51. You got to make sure you bring it. You know, this is, Shaq and Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to hit 51 or anything like that, but I just remember you hear about people talk about being in that zone. You've been there. The basket is so wide, man. No matter what, you're going at the speed that nobody is on your level, and this everything just became easy. I wasn't rushing. I was getting to my spots. I was just the little things, the rebounds, the offensive boards, like all that stuff was just coming to me. And I just remember down that stretch, it was me and Kobe going back and forth. And,
I remember that.
Kobe to me was the second coming of Mike. And I'm like, and at that particular time, like we had more Laker fans at the arena because we played at Golden State than we did Golden State fans. But just to know, like, I remember after the game, like Kobe and Shaq both like, good game. Like them, like solidifying, like, yeah, you making it,
bro. So did Sports Center, like, bro, like, yeah, we know Kobe, but man, he ain't the only one that got back-to-back 50s.
But
like,
that's the thing,
like,
though,
yeah,
that was Kobe's first 50-point game. He had never scored 50 points in the NBA game. That was his first 50-point game, and it was just I just remember like he coming down, Larry Hughes guarding and Bobby Sir, and I'm just like, and I'm coming down like Horace Grant. I remember Phil Jackson like. And I remember Shaq like, get your ass over there and stop this man. He killing us. But I tell you one thing, it's funny because after I hit 51 points back to back, the next game we played was against the Lakers. Vince, when I say I've never worked hard for a bucket my life, I didn't score a point that game. I went from 51 back to back to nothing. When I say they had Shaq, Kobe, Derek Fisher, yeah. Look it up.
Oh, you were getting that.
Man,
you were
like,
getting that.
What is this?
Hall of Fame.
I never seen this
he
before.
Not scoring.
Yeah, that's Phil Jackson. Get on the sideline. Get him.
Go get him.
They came out, and for me, it was like this is my third year in the league. I never experienced being mentally prepared for like that type of like
triple teams.
Like, oh no, he ain't getting 50 tonight. So I was like, and I just remember I remember after the game. Kobe them coming out laughing like, yeah, not tonight, huh, young fella. I was like, it was crazy. But to me, it was just like, I felt like, okay, I'm on the same level as Vince now. I'm on the same level as Paul and Dirk, guys in my class that I put on this pedestal because y'all had so much success the first early in your careers. And now it's like, like, that's when I knew, like, you know what, this is what I'm going to be doing until I can't do it anymore.
And you mentioned Kobe. I know you ended up, obviously you had that battle. You ended up playing with Kobe. Yeah. What we hear stories about Kobe from other guys. For you, what was it like playing with Kobe at that time? For you,
it was so easy. Our lockers was next to each other. Me, I'm like one of the greatest ever players. So I'm just like a sponge, and he was so receptive. The thing about Kobe. If you dedicated yourself to the game of basketball and you wanted to win, he was the best teammates ever. Him and Shaq beef because what? Shaq was giving it not 100%, had other stuff. That year, Dwight was on the team. Dwight, always joking and stuff like that. But if you came and practiced hard and then you did everything the coaches, like, I love playing with him. I remember one time, this funny story, we on a plane. He always did that system like a snake. He be doing that. And he's like, J-Mo, that way he called me, like, come here. And I'm like, Kobe ain't never called me. We on the plane. I said, what's going on? He watching film, Vince. Just watching film. He like, look. He said, I see you was open. He said, I didn't see you. He said, next game, just hey, pass the ball, I'm open. I'm looking at the film, Vince. He got 4 guys on him. I'm like, how you don't know I'm open? You got 4 guys right there on you, but he was just like, he said, I got blinders on. I just see the basket. He said, next time, just let me know. Surely but surely, the next game we play, I think it might have been, I forgot, Phoenix or somebody. It was the most 32 points that game I had. They double team him. I'm yelling, Kobe. Just layup after layup. And, like, that's the type of player he was. He was the ultimate competitor. He wanted to win. You remember the time when Mike came and we did our game, our run in Chapel Hill, and we were like it's Michael Jordan. He just came off a championship, and we playing a pickup game with Mike. Just the intensity that we played with. We setting picks. We diving on the floor for loose balls.
Diving on loose
in a
balls and
pickup
pick up.
game. But that's the type of attention that he demanded, and Kobe was the same way. Like, to me, I love playing with Kobe. I could have played with Kobe my whole career because we all wanted the same things. Like, my work ethic was compared to none. I remember my first day of training camp. I'm normally the first one in the gym. We had practice around 11 o'clock. I get to the gym like 8 o'clock. I'm getting shots up. I walk in. Kobe comes off the court just sweating. I'm like, what? He's just getting out the shower? Like, no, he's been here since 5 o'clock in the morning. And this one, we was doing tour days. But that's just the type of person he was. He never let anybody or wanted to think anybody was outworking him. And as a teammate, it was the same way. As long as you coming in, you competing every day, you giving everything to your craft and to the team, he was the best teammate ever.
LeBron.
Yeah.
You also played with LeBron. And, your time with him, I mean, what LeBron has accomplished. And you got the opportunity to see LeBron in his early stages. And obviously you're seeing what he's done now and what he's accomplished. We talk about, like, LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. And you got that opportunity to play with him. You got to see him every day. What are your thoughts on him as a young guy to where he is now?
Yeah, so I got traded midway through the season, and you knew he was getting ready for greatness. To say I'm shocked or surprised that he's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history, I'm not. Just like Cole, the work ethic, the attention to detail, the amount of money he's spent on his body to make sure he's, prepared for the rigors of like 82 plus deep into the playoffs. I knew it. I think at that particular time, Bron needed to go into a situation like he did with Miami. He needed, because at that particular time, Cleveland was still kind of like trying to figure things out. And
you mean like learn how to win?
Learn how to win and learn how to. The difference between Bron and Kobe was more like Mike. Just the mentality.
Yeah.
Bron was more like
I agree.
Happy-go-lucky, just still having a good time. All the handshakes they was doing. So I think Bron needed to go down with Pat Riley and learn about the mentality that Mike and Magic and those guys, D-Wade already had it. So I think by those couple of years, by him being down there in Miami, it took him to the next level, because he was arguably, he could have won the MVP every year. That's the type of talent that he was. But I think he needed to go down there and experience, like, you know what? I've been kind of doing this all wrong. And from what I heard after he got back from Miami, from the people with the organization, you can tell he came back different. He came back with a little, you know what? This is how we got to do things. And he was, Vince, his basketball mind, I never seen anything like it. I remember like Mike Brown trying to draw plays, and Brown, he's a coach. I mean, you think about, Kobe, I played with Shaq with Cleveland, but like Brown was like, his mind just, it worked like I never seen it before as a player. And then he had the opportunity, because you hear most great coaches were not great players. But Bron had the opportunity to practice what he preached and what he saw. And of course, I mean, this man came out of high school, built like a mad truck, fast like I don't never seen it before. IQ, his basketball IQ is, people don't give him enough credit for his basketball IQ.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love about it, and I think the difference between the players when our generation and Bron loves the game of basketball. KD loves the game of basketball. If they weren't playing, they'd be out there on the blacktop. I mean, this is their mentality. And that was the difference between, I think, Kobe and Bron. Bron had to go down there and figure it out. And I think Kobe already came in.
Already had it, yeah.
He struggled a little bit.
Kobe studied MJ, his every move. Like I remember,
and then Kobe
he
went to
practice in the mirror, walk and talk.
Kobe went to an organization that it's championship or bust. And Bron went to a situation in Cleveland like, we never had.
You're just a savior.
Just bring people to come see to the stands. And then he went down to Miami like, hold on, no, we're just not down here to party and have a good time. We're here to win championships. And I think once she got to that point, like, this is what is required. It's not just make it to the finals every other year. Like Pat Riley, like, bro, we here to win championships.
And lastly, I just want to clear the air, get this out there, and then we're going to get out of your hair, ladies and gentlemen. You already mentioned a little bit, and I want to double back on this MJ story. When MJ came to town to play pickup, there was a story that came out about this MJ situation and how it all unfolded. Yeah. And we've had conversations about it, and this does not have anything to do with anybody, not to Mark Spears, not to anybody, but we actually lived this story as well. And just recently we've had a conversation about it, but some of the things that came out, if you would, were not really true.
Now knowing the person who, I heard the story and he said about he wasn't his favorite. Now, I know him. Now, if he said that, I didn't hear it. And it wouldn't surprise me if he did say, I can only talk about what I experienced and what I saw. And I remember they said, you guys got to be downstairs at Dean Smith to play pickup at a certain time.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we'll be there. No, you got to be here at a certain time. I'm like.
I remember that. What's the big deal? Right.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
We always there.
We always there. We always there at 3 o'clock, And I just remember, like, nobody was in the gym but us. Normally you have, like, the managers. You might have some people walking the concourse or whatever, but it was just the team in there. And I'm like, so we sitting up stretching and stuff. And I'm like, man, okay, so let's get started. They're like, hold up, wait, not yet. We're going to get started in a little bit. I'm like, what's going on? And coming out of the tunnel, everybody knows the walk. And I'm like, I said, that Michael Jordan, they're coming over there. I said, what's he doing?
I said, sure look like that's he dark enough.
Got his Carolina shorts on and, that little walk coming on. I'm like, oh, man, this is our freshman year, Vince. I'm like, bro, we about to play with. I said, oh, crap, okay. All of a sudden, boy, we started stretching. All of a sudden, we straight up on the layup line. And I remember I played with him one game. And I played against him one game. And Vince, when I say the attention to detail, I say we was out there setting screens. That was the hardest I ever seen a pickup game being played in my life.
But wait, you remember he had like the walk-ons and he had like he was like, nah, give me them.
Yeah. And I remember I got switched out on him. I said, somebody come help. Cause I mean he had that. He's looking at them and it's just like
he started getting into that doing all this crap.
I'm like, and I just remember, man, it was just like we just got through playing. Cause think about it, went to Carolina, just won a championship. This is like the reason why a lot of us, or even playing the game of basketball, be like Mike in the backyard doing this, Chicago. So to sit there and like at the Smith Center, the school that I'm going to have Michael Jordan come in, I didn't say nothing. I was sitting there this Michael Jordan. We sitting there saying,
I was a student in that master class he was giving us out there.
Call the screen, young fella. I'm like, I mean, it's just like, we learned, like, this is the intensity. Because for us, we didn't know when this opportunity or even it was going to happen. This is what we got to expect if we was to make it to the next level. And I just, man, we playing hard. We diving on the floor.
I just remember the time on the break, the one fast break I got, it was like, usually dunk it, but like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and dunk this one extra hard.
Man.
I remember, bro.
So did you
calling shots is a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
One time. Like, he was calling his shots.
Yeah.
Don't reach. Don't reach now, because if you reach, I'm going here for this fadeaway.
And I like,
what?
Talking about? Like, you sit there, I like,
fadeaway. Like, unbelievable.
And
so,
I don't remember, like, this is why I was saying, I don't remember any trash talking. It wasn't no trash talking.
Not from me. Yeah.
I don't recall any trash talking. So I just remember quiet, church mouse, going ahead and do my job, pick set screen. I played one the first game, set screen. The second game, that's when he had the walk-ons and he played against everybody. And I was like,
I played against him.
Yeah.
Did I play with? I want to say I played with him once, but maybe not.
So let me ask you this: so knowing that the talk was this is the next coming of Michael Jordan, or this is the closest thing to Michael Jordan to ever come to Carolina, did that put any pressure on you when you played him that day?
I didn't want.
You never came off. You never came off that way. You let your game.
I didn't want. I've always said that. Like, I didn't want to be the next MJ because, like, bro, that's as soon as you do that, you automatically put pressure on yourself. And I'm like, bro, like, you might see some things. Like, I love the fadeaway. That was my thing. I hit you with the long fadeaway either way or whatnot, and you see some stuff. But like, it was just like, nah. I just wanted to see, like. I'm not gonna say like let me see what this Michael Jordan thing was all about, but at the same time, like, bro, like, this is the best to ever do it. So, you see where you are at 17, 18 years old, and this man, MJ, right, grown man, like, the man had grown man strength. Like, he was just, I'm talking about, like, trying to guard him back down. Like, he just his ability to get to his spots, and he was prepared for everything that you could possibly do during live action. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, like I said, I was a student in that master class that he was given. And it was just like.
To be able to, like, you knew about the dunking and stuff, but Vince, I've seen you, and you.
His ability to get shots off from people who are athletic is just.
No.
Like, I'm going to block this fadeaway. I'm not.
I compare you, this is one thing I will compare you guys to. And you could jump, and I'm sitting there jumping with you. I'm jumping with you. I'm coming down, and you're still elevating up. And it's like you in slow motion. Like, that's the thing I will compare you guys to, because I remember that day. I'm like, hold up, I'm jumping. I know I got a little bit of athletic ability, but I'm coming down. He's just still hanging, and it's just like.
That was one of the things. It's funny
time.
You say that. That was one of the things that, because of my ability, I learned and I took from his game. Is the ability to kind of get in the paint and just be athletic. And then sometimes it's just like, all right, you done? Your athleticism has expired? Okay, let me go ahead and just wait. And sometimes, you will see it with the one hand, sometimes with the fadeaway, just hold it up there. Like, those are the things, like, I was like, that's another dimension of my game I use. Like, particularly when I got in the NBA, more so than in college. But, like, now I can just get in the paint and just, because now we talking about, we dealing with back Matumbos and, Sean Bradley's and all those guys. So, or just big athletic, strong dudes. It's like I just had to kind of wait. I'm guarding, like, Sprewell's guarding me and stuff. So I did take
guys
that.
I had to guard. Like, KG was 7 foot long and shot up here. Dirk the same way, the fadeaway. But for you, it was like, I'm taller than Vince. And you would jump straight up. And then all of a sudden you could twerk your body. I'm just like, how is this dude still up? And one thing, coming to the rim, I was just like, you know what, he hang. But the fadeaway and the jump shot and be like, oh, that's good D. I'm right there. And I'm just like, and that's the thing I remember when I played MJ for the first time. I'm like, this guy is literally just hanging in the air on his jump shot, same shot every time. The motion is just like, those are the things that you see it on TV, but you don't really appreciate it till you're like literally like live competing against it. That's the one thing I will say that you had a lot of, is that you can actually play good defense on Vince. This is before you learn how to, like, create off the dribble and stuff like that. But you would just sit there, and I'm just like, bro, come down. Like, what are you doing? It was just, and you had the same motion every time. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Your shot, it was just like, they actually shoot the ball. But that freshman year, you was just so in your head, you was like, I don't know if I can shoot it now. Everything was just, But then when you realize, I'm taking this shot, I'm just like, and then when you start off the dribble, I'm just like, yeah, it's a wrap. So just get ready for it. So.
Yeah, man. And that's why it prepared me, I think, playing against MJ then and then playing against MJ when he came back with the Wizards. I had a better understanding. It's one thing watching MJ. It's one thing watching MJ, for everybody who claim like, oh, now it's another thing having to guard that man live. Like,
hey,
bro.
funny story. I remember because this is when I was at Golden State and he was with the Wizards. He came in. It's MJ. I mean, like I said, we played with him in college, and me and Gilbert are like cooking. I had like about 33, 34. Man, he guarded me one time. I hit the shot. I'm like, yeah, baby, yeah. Tar Heel, calm down. My bad, dog.
That's his go-to. That's his go-to. That's his go-to.
Don't get me started. I like, my bad, player. It's your game. I set that his shots. I was like, let me just steal him. But that's the type of respect that he had. And like I said, I mean, it's a debate between who's the greatest, Bron or Mike. If you ask Bron played the game.
But what about Kobe? We can't forget Kobe.
I'm
just saying,
telling you.
Man, Twan, I really appreciate it, man. It's always a pleasure. You see, when we get to talking, we have stories on end. Like, I'm hoping all our listeners out there really enjoyed this conversation because I knew it was going to be a good one. I knew people were going to hear some great stuff. Thank you once again, man. My brother, I love you to death, man. It's always love when we get together, man. VC Show, we signing off, man. Let's go!